No. Okay, and there's not much to say really. There's just this apparent pointing to itself, sitting in front of a screen saying, this is all there is, sitting in front of a screen saying, I'm everything. That's what seems to be happening here for no reason. So it's not a teaching. There is no one that needs to know this or to learn this. There's no one who needs to be taught that all there is what happens, because all there is just is what happens, and it's naturally whole and complete. So this is the natural reality. It won't get better. There will never be a time later on when it'll be more whole and more fulfilled. I know that's the dream of the person, that one day there will be a conscious experience of wholeness or of more wholeness. But this won't happen. This will never happen because it can't happen. And it can't happen because this I is an illusion. It's this I itself which doesn't exist. And as a story, one could say, it is the only illusion. It's just not there. In that sense, it's the only illusion. Sitting in front of a screen and breathing and thinking and is not an illusion. That's what apparently happens. And yes, it's not as real as the person assumes it to be, but it's not an illusion. The only illusion would be, again, that there is a separate experiencer from what happens, and that what happens is an experience, is something that's real, and is something that can be really experienced. That's the only illusion. And again, when I say it's an illusion, it means it's just not there. There is no separation right now, so to speak. There is no separate entity. It just doesn't exist. So that's it, I guess. There's nothing to realize. And maybe one could add this whole sense of seeking, this whole sense that something has been lost, is also only part of that illusion. In the end, it's also not something that apparently happens. It's the illusion of having lost something that seems to be happening. Nothing has been lost ever. Wholeness cannot be regained. It doesn't need to be regained. It was never lost. It's all good for no one. That's basically the short version. And part of the dream, the person would dream that I have to make it good. When I say, when it's being said that this is good already, the person thinks, okay, what's the path to this? How can I make it good? And that's the dream. It can't be made good. What happens? Can't be turned into wholeness. It is wholeness already. Or whole and complete.
Hi, Andreas. Can
Hello.
I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Is Is it okay to ask a question now? Okay. So this illusion of the individual, is this also something that's just happening, even though it's an illusion?
Yeah, that's a yes and no. The funny thing is, it doesn't mean that there is an illusion in you which is real and unreal, but your body, so to speak, or this body claiming there is something in here, that is what apparently happens. But there's never something separate within anyone, neither an I nor an illusion of I. There is no one and nothing in there or in here. But obviously, body is saying, I'm a me and I need to find enlightenment. That is the same wholeness. That's what seems to be happening. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. That's included, so to speak. And yes, it's from the chat, it's all wholeness, even when it doesn't feel that way. Yes, one could say so. But it's surprisingly whole and complete, exactly as what it is, the not feeling that way. So there isn't an extra entity which could realize that not feeling whole is also whole. No one realizes that on top. It just is like that for no one. In that sense, this message can't be used to make oneself feel whole and complete. Then it would be a teaching or a method. And of course, the person will try to use this message to make itself feel good, but it turns into another task or another religion. It has to repeat these sentences again and again to itself or stuff like that. And that's because it's not there at all, so to speak. This is why we could say it's the only illusion. It doesn't even exist as an illusion, but that's not logical. This doesn't make sense, really. But
hello, Andreas.
hello.
Would you say that their hearing, seeing and hearing happens?
Well, in the end, no one knows because it's inexperienced, but...
Yeah, that was my follow-up question, because I think you wouldn't say then that there is experience, but no one's experience. There's a difference between that and what apparently happens. And this is the thing that I can never understand.
Exactly. Because conceptually, of course, the person can leave itself out and then everything just happens, but without someone and stuff. But actually, this statement isn't really possible anymore when there is no one. That there is seeing or acting without an actor or seeing without a seer and stuff like that. That it can't really be made, this statement, when there is no one.
It feels wrong for you to say like that.
Kind of, yeah, one could say so. Also, an experience without an experiencer. Of course, I mean, it could mean anything. There are no wrong words, but to me, this sounds a bit conceptual.
Yeah. I know that, but this question comes back sometimes, and now was such a moment. It's like when there is no one to own the experience anymore, then not only is there no owner, there is no more experience. It seems strange somehow.
Yes, yes, because it seems strange because it can't be imagined anymore.
Yeah.
I think somehow experience without experience, so that could still somehow be imagined or conceptualized.
Yeah, I understand that exactly. That you can still imagine that you get it.
Somehow, yes.
But,
Yeah,
what you are speaking about is completely unimaginable.
exactly how it actually is. So, but very direct, not because it's a metaphysical level of reality that we talk about. No, the surprise is actually that very direct seeing and breathing and acting is the unknowable, or is unknowable. This is unknowable in the end. And in the end, it's not only unknowable what it is, it's even unknown if it is or not. Even with this question, is there sitting in a room? Is there seeing? Is there breathing? In the end, also to this, there is no real answer. Even this is unknown.
Mm.
And very, very instantaneously, not as a concept or something. There's just nothing there which could answer this question right now, so to speak, or the other way around. All that would answer this question would be an illusion, an observer, an experiencer, a separate instance. But this conviction, like, well, yeah, of course there is sitting in front of a screen in a room. This conviction would be part of a dream. It's dream.
And when you speak about what apparently happens, you always use, things that could immediately put, like sitting in front of a screen. That is something I can experience. You don't say, what apparently happens is that the euro is getting weaker in contrast to the dollar. It's always these concrete things.
Well, sometimes I even say the whole universe is what apparently happens, and this includes the euro going weaker towards the dollar. How it is exactly, I know. Yeah, but actually, I don't consciously exclude that.
I see.
All of it is what apparently happens. The thing is, my impression is the person too can conceptualize this much more easily. I don't know, it's just my impression. Maybe it's not right, because the person can conceptualize everything in the end. Also those simple things, those thinking and breathing, of course. But I think conceptually it's so easy actually to imagine an impersonal universe somehow. But of course, the person would still be left with the impression of there being a universe or an impersonal existence or an impersonal nature that is alive and blooming and blossoming and stuff.
Yeah, you mean some kind of objectification is always happening.
Exactly, which is personal, though conceptually the person takes itself out of the picture. But it'll still be left, as I say, with an impersonal existence. That's quite easy to imagine, which is useless, of course, but that's, yeah, my impression is that's quite easy to imagine.
And when there is really no one, then there is also no universe in the no objectified world.
Exactly. Then there is no objectified reality made out of objects. It can't even be imagined in that sense.
Mm.
It doesn't make sense. In a story, one could say, because it's just not there. That's the thing. The I is the only thing that experiences objectification or subjectification, which is also an object. And when that's gone, when that just turns out to be completely dreamt, it's not even a matter of choice. It's not even a matter of how do I view the world? which concept do I tell myself? No, it's just very instantaneously, no one there living in that reality, being a subject in an objectified reality, in a circumstantial reality.
But there could still be, I guess, objectifications, I mean, when needed to understand something.
Yes, but they would never be underlaid with the sense of this being an actual object.
Oh, yeah. That's like a kind of a picture, you mean?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, in a way, I constantly live in the not. That's the thing. There is no one. But of course, I say this is a glass, and I'm hungry. And yesterday I bought this. And but the surprise is that this isn't an objectified reality. That this, how it looks, you sitting there, I'm sitting here. That this is that objectified reality. That it just seemed like that from the personal experience. That there never were objects. These aren't objects, really. It would only feel like that, or it only does feel like that from the personal experience. But still it goes on being this. That's the thing. That's the surprising thing. When the person drops, it still is this. You apparently having your thoughts, apparently sitting in your room while I'm having my thoughts and feelings sitting in this room.
Thank you.
Thank you. So in that sense, there will also never be a step from an objectified world to an undivided reality. It is this already. Nothing will change, really. It is undivided already, looking exactly like this.
So would it be possible to say that it is and it isn't at the same time?
Yes, yes, but in the end also for no one. So, but I think this is where this is coming from. But it's still kind of, it's not something that someone can realize or know. Maybe it's just what it can tell about itself. This is and isn't, or this is, but it's not experienced by anyone, which again doesn't make sense at all. Because it's an impersonal statement. It's an apparent statement. Maybe it just points out that this is not denied. It's not taking sides. That there is no sitting in front of a screen.
Because over there with so-called Andreas, there's seeing sometimes if that's appearing, and there's aware sometimes if it's appearing or not, and to no one, right? Is that and so it's just what appears or what happens as it happens or as it doesn't happen.
Totally, absolutely.
This is okay. I just wanted the confirmation that this is being understood correctly on this end.
Yes, that's all there is. And there
Yeah.
isn't anything mysterious about it or special or extraordinary. It just is what it is, and it's whole and complete. But it's not, yeah, it's not special in a sense. The person, or it's has nothing to do with the specialness that the person looks for. There's just what apparently happens for no one.
And it's like last week, you know, going into memory last week in your talk, you know, there was a moment when you were talking about, well, even what is seen doesn't necessarily mean it's real. And, you know, so on this end, there are moments where it's like none of this makes any sense at all. And there is no reality to it in any way. And then another moment, it might make sense. And then even there might be the person coming up for a little bit and then disappearing again. And there's no timeline that makes any logic or sense, but it's just whatever comes up.
Totally. It's not, in that sense, it's not even connected. It's just what happens. Yeah. And it's not part of a story. It's never part of a linear process or something. Not really. It's just what apparently happens. Yeah. And it doesn't make sense.
And it doesn't need to make sense anymore anyway, because there's no one it needs to make sense to anymore.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's not even an issue. It's not an issue if it makes sense or not. It's just not an issue. It's just who would even be able to comprehend this concept or need to comprehend this concept of, does this make sense or not? But well, it's so total and full on what happens that it's just enough for itself. There's no need for an additional conceptualization or an answering of it. Apparently waiting at a boring airport. grateful for your meetings, even if there is no meeting. Yes. Ah, yeah, yeah, it's small. The airport. Thank you. Thanks. Yeah.
Andreas, can I ask another question?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So, could you please clarify the difference between the no thing and nothing?
Well, well, of course. Well, it's exactly what we talked about, actually. That what happens isn't, or sitting in front of a screen isn't nothing as the opposite to something, as opposed to something. It's both. It's nothing and something, which is no thing, not something. That's what it means, so to speak. The dilemma for the seeker is that it exactly feels the same. So for the seeker, no thing is as good as nothing. It's equally ungraspable and equally impossible to comprehend. So it's nothing real, one could also say. Sitting in front of a screen is nothing real. But the seeker would instantly ask, okay, if it's nothing real, what is it then? But no, it's not something, it's no thing. Yeah.
So just to confirm, it's not the nothing of the mind, right, or of thought, which is just a concept. Because I mean, the vacuum, zilch, nothing, zero, no thing is not nothing. It's
In that
not.
sense,
It's not
exactly.
the. It's not the absence of a no thing. Nothing is not. I mean, no thing is. Oh my God, I'm going. Yeah, it's it's not. I mean, it's there's because what used to happen when I used to hear this word nothing would be, the terror of non-being or not existing. It was more a mental concept of a zero, but this is not what is being shared. It's not the no thing is not a concept. It's something that's real but cannot be described, let's say.
Let's say, yes. I know, I know what you mean. What happens is not a concept. And that's what this points to very directly. So very directly, apparently it points to breathing and feeling and walking around and being in this talk, but which is not a concept. All of this, what I just said, is not a concept or an experience. The person would turn it into an experience, into something that happens now here, and then on top conceptualize it, tell itself a story about what it is and stuff. But yes, this message, or what we talk about, is not conceptual at all. And as I said, in the end, it's not even experiential at all. But the person doesn't get what that is anyway. Not experiential, not conceptual, the person can understand, because it is still left with its experience. So to not be in concepts, that's an understandable concept for the person still, but there are no experience. This can't be experienced anymore. But you're right, with all this emptiness thing, and it's actually nothing. My impression too is that for the person, that's just an intellectual game. Also in those spiritual, religious circles where it's about nothing, it's just purely intellectual, is my impression.
It seems that it's just the logical opposite of everything.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. Yes, but which remains conceptual because nothing also can't be experienced really in its totality. Because experiencing implies always something. No matter how empty it seems, the experience, it'll always remain something, an experience of emptiness, nothingness. I mean, there are people who can experience, or at least for a while, that everything is empty. But here we have it. They are still left with there being an everything, which is empty. That's why something never really remains conceptual. That's something that the person can experience, but the nothing in its totality remains a concept. Kind of, is my impression. And in the chat, it's not solid yet appearing as, and empty fullness. Yes, this isn't solid. It's not really appearing in terms of coming into existence. No, it is what apparently happens. Yes, and it's empty and full. It's total and without content. There's nothing in it. All right. No. I mean, maybe just about this message, not that you asked this now exactly, but this is not an explanation in general. It doesn't explain anything. It's impossible to explain anything. And what we talk here about, the me does that, and the object, or the subject, and the objectification, these are just apparent explanations. They don't explain anything, of course, because what there seems to be explained doesn't exist anyway. So it's just apparent. Mm-hmm. So the person understanding about the functioning of the subject-object reality is completely illusory, of course, and useless. I just like talking, so I keep on explaining things that don't exist really. I found my role in talking. Say something. Any questions still? Comments at least? No. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, the comment is bloody hell. This seems to get more and more complicated to me. Regards. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's not my intention. Well, the thing is, it just can't be understood at all. So maybe it can seem to get more and more complicated, but for the person, so to speak, it was never easy. So I'm afraid this was dreamt already, that it was easy. It's simple, but impossible to be understood. It's neither easy to be understood nor complicated or difficult to be understood. What happens, it just can't be understood at all. That's the simplicity of it. Not that there are simple concepts or simple ideas. There is no one. There is no me. That's what apparently happens. This sound. No, I don't say that you did it, but this sounds like a very easy teaching to be understood, kind of. But it's impossible. It's an important. Well, what happens, including this apparent message, it's an impossibility for the person. It can't be understood. One could say what apparently happens simply is and isn't, of course, but it's the simplicity.
Andreas?
Yes.
Yeah. So therefore, instead of we are asking, or can you explain this and this and this, we can just ask you, what is a flower? It would be the same in this way. What is this you are talking about? What is this message? Yeah, can you tell me what is a flower?
Yes, exactly. And there would be no answer at all.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You are very welcome. I share this truth from the bottom of my non-existence. Yeah, this deep truth.
Yeah, once I said to you, you could just say it, say "gaku, gaku, gaku," and I didn't. I did in a way. I didn't. Yeah, I don't know if you got it, because it was in a way the same. I was sitting with. It could just be "gaku, gaku" in a way, instead of because words seems to. Ah, yes, now I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you should join a German meeting one day. So.
Yeah.
You can have that easily. I actually offer that officially. but because it makes it more interesting, you know, if you in between get all of these yes, that's your word. So that's somehow part of it. You can't really leave that out, but yes, it's empty, and yes. Yes.
It's Friday. There is a Chinese translation. That will be perfect.
This is, yeah, this would also be an option, but you still get the English. Mm-hmm. The funny thing is, I mean, maybe not if it happens all the time, but even if I would make these noises, the person would ask, what is he trying to tell me? Even if there would be silence, the person will turn it into the highest transmission, maybe, or something.
Yeah, or maybe it would be more clear that you are talking about nothing when it's kaku kaku.
Yeah. But the person would still assume I'm trying to say something with that, even by saying nothing, that this would be kind of a method or something. I think there is a tradition in Zen, or I don't know in which tradition, which say that the guru consciously behaves in a weird way to break the seeker's mind or something. So I'm not a guru, and I'm not consciously acting weird. It's unconscious. I don't want to say something deeper with how I am. I just am like that. Apparently, of course. Ah.
I was expecting more bells and whistles. I was expecting more display of guruship. Some mystical grounding from all of this teaching, not something that it's as common as it's average. Yeah. The whole
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
But if I were to do shopping, I could find those teachers who would certainly supply all of that for a price, of course. I mean, for an exorbitant price. Yeah.
Yeah. The price would be that you would need to listen to some teaching. So.
Oh, $3,000. $3,000.
All right, but yeah, well, plus listening, plus the need to listen to a teacher.
But they would serve me a vegan meal. How could you go wrong? At any rate. Sorry.
Doesn't get better.
Andreas, in all of your years of doing this, what would you say is the most common or the most, what question is asked the most? What question do you usually get the most?
Well, to be honest, I have no idea, to be honest. I don't know. I mean, it's, sorry, yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's, I don't know.
Well,
I don't really listen to these questions. I'm just saying something always. So I don't. Is there someone? What can I do? How to become whole and complete? Who am I? What's the I? How does it function? What's the path?
and your answer to all of those is, well, that's unknowable.
Yes, but even this is actually there is no answer to this. There's no answer in those words even. So
I'm gonna go home now. Bye. Thanks, Andre.
well, you're welcome. But I thought you are at home already.
Well, bye.
So now we could even squeeze some spirituality in. I mean, in the end, apparently, it's just this one dynamic going on. The seeker trying to go back to wholeness and asking, how can I become whole again? And there's just no answer. There's nothing coming back. It's maybe, apparently, it's the only place where wholeness can even speak and tell I'm nothing. I mean, trees don't do that. They just are nothing. That's all. It's still no answer. It's still not an answer to the question. Still not an answer to the seeker's need to find an answer, to get something.
Yeah, that would be the question. How do I find wholeness?
What's the path? What should I do? How should I be? Yes. Am I right in how I am and in what I do? Confirmation. But it's basically this question: how to become one? How can I become one, or whole, or enlightened, or fulfilled, or whatever? How can I lose the ego? Whatever is regarded as the solution. Everything is wholeness. Wholeness doesn't need an answer. Yes, exactly. Yes, there is no answer, and it doesn't need an answer. And that's the funny thing, that the seeker illusion and the seeking itself is wholeness too already, and it can't be answered. There is no answer to the seeking energy. There is no answer to what the seeker is, if there is a seeker, what the seeking is for, and an answer to end the seeking does not exist, because all of it is already whole and complete. It's the same wholeness, it's the same totality that everything else is as well. And it's as unknown and as unanswerable as everything else. It's just a dreamt question. It's not even a real question, the seeker asking about itself. Why am I is not a real question. Wholeness doesn't ask itself that, so to speak. It's an apparent question which in an illusory reality. And as that, it's whole and complete. And of course, all you can get out of the illusory reality are dream answers. The person inventing answers to its own question. But in the end, neither the question nor the answers are real and needed. Seeking isn't needed. There is no need to ask, what is this? There is no need to find oneself, or there is no need to find out what the truth is. I mean, for the person, even the question seems to come out of a need. The person, it feels as if I need to seek, as if I need to ask, and that I need to find an answer. All of this is dreamt. In that sense, it's not only that there is no answer needed, the question already isn't needed. It only feels like that from the personal experience. Okay, so a question. So there are two realities, one with a center and one without a center of attention. Well, not really, but as a story, one could say so, because what's being pointed out here is that the reality with a center of attention is dreamt. So in that sense, it never existed. It's a dream that there are two realities. But from the separate experience, it seems as if there are two realities. Always. There is me and what I experience. That's basically the two realities that the person believes in. There is me and a separate experience. But as I say, this never happens. So in that sense, there are never two realities. And in the end, there isn't even one reality. There's no reality. There's nothing that's something.
Andreas, just what you're saying, it seems very clear. And again, but for no one.
Yes.
But yeah, there's nothing to say to it, but it seems very clear. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it's an apparent clarity. Maybe.
Yeah. Or
I
whatever.
I don't even know that, but it seems
No.
apparently clear.
Yeah, and at the same time, it doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, because clarity too is empty. There is no gain in clarity. It's just what apparently happens, or not.
Yeah.
But it's not adding something. Clarity doesn't have isn't a value in itself, or doesn't carry a value. Yeah, oh, totally. That's the thing. It's conscious. It's apparently clear, and it doesn't matter. Could be anything theoretically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, in a way, the me is always a reaction. So the way the me is reacting to this message is either these moments of the sense of liberation, a sense of and or the sense of some kind of dullness, some kind of something dull or paralyzed or so. And it's always a reaction, and there are always these the me gets always shortly what it wants, but it's always a reaction. It's never, fully, but yeah.
One could say so. I mean, let's put it like this. Yeah, in the end, you're right. Yeah, it's mostly like that. I mean, the reaction is actually the need to answer this moment. One could say it's a story. It's a total story. But one could say the person experiences in real time, but then needs to answer it. And that would be the reaction. It tries to position itself to this moment. It needs to find an answer to this moment somehow. And this probably does feel reactive. Some people try to become active. That's when they meditate before there actually has been a problem. But in the end, it's still a reaction. It's still a reaction to being unfulfilled. Yes, still a reaction to this present moment not being whole and complete. And then I have to seek. And then I listen. And then, as you say, sometimes I seem to get what I want. Ah, yes, a moment of understanding, a moment of well-being. Yes. Oh. But this moment of well-being or this moment of understanding has nothing to do with liberation. It's also not just a 5% liberation or a 10% liberation. It's just the person that dreams that it got something. And this illusion of I got something brings so much joy. the person thinks, oh God, I got an answer. Even if it's only for a moment, it feels so great. I got something. Thank you, existence. Thank you. But I'm sorry. But it has, yes, well, it's a dreamt satisfaction coming out of a dreamt lack, of course. But it's wholeness. Woohoo! Yes. All right. So I think that's it. There's no message. There's no teaching. There is no one separate. So no one has lost anything and no one needs to gain something or find something else. All of this would be part of an illusion, which means it's just not the case. No one has lost anything. And what happens, what apparently happens, is naturally whole and complete just by being itself. It doesn't experience itself as whole and complete. It just is what it is. And it's naturally, blindly fine. Thank you very much for joining. I wish you a lovely day. Thank you very much. Bye. Thank you.
Thanks, Andreas.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.